Unlike hotels where you can leave to eat at a nearby restaurant, a cruise ship functions as your primary source of food while on board. Naturally, it's curious to be interested in the kitchen and what goes into making sure that thousands of people are satisfied with each meal. Every aspect of the dining experience has been carefully calculated by the cruise line, ensuring that there are enough supplies and variety for the duration of the sailing and then some. Here are 10 facts about cruise ship kitchens and food that you probably didn't know. First, the kitchens are pretty high-tech. Did you know that on Utopia of the Seas, there's a laser-guided water gun to help cut pieces of cake? According to Lincoln D'Souza, Royal Caribbean's Vice President of Food and Beverage, this is to help make tasks even easier for crew members, as the high-pressure water will do the work. And as newer ships come out, cruise lines strive to increase the efficiency of their kitchens. Onboard Icon of the Seas, D'Souza claims that there's new equipment that's never been seen on any Royal Caribbean cruise ship before, such as machines that can cut a whole piece of steak or fish into portions, vegetable slicers, and more. Next, cruise ship galleys aren't your average kitchen. Kitchens onboard cruise ships are actually called galleys, and they're probably unlike anything you have ever seen on land. These massive kitchens have to be able to serve thousands of people for each meal, so preparation stations have to be a little bit larger than normal. Aside from the cooking itself, there has to be enough space to safely store all the supplies and ingredients. And there are a lot of ingredients, especially on the largest cruise ships. The staff, including chefs, kitchen assistants, and more, also need sufficient workspace to perform their duties, and this wouldn't be possible in a standard kitchen. Next up, bread is constantly being baked. To keep up with the demand for freshly baked goods throughout the day, galleys typically are in the process of making bread 24/7. This helps them provide a variety of different selections, such as bread rolls, specialty breads, baguettes, and more. At dinner, you might prefer a roll, whereas when lunchtime the following day comes around, you might be craving a sandwich from the ship's deli. If these items were brought on board at the beginning of the cruise, especially on longer sailings, they wouldn't taste as fresh at the end of the cruise. You probably didn't know that many cruise ships also have their own ice cream making facilities. Have you ever noticed that ice cream is actually a dessert option each night in the main dining room? Up on the pool deck, you'll often find soft serve stations too. Unlimited soft serve ice cream is a staple of any cruise vacation, and this is a highlight for many cruisers on board. Ice cream may also be available in the buffet or at a standalone shop. Sugar Beach on Royal Caribbean, for instance, has many types of ice cream, but this does cost extra. In order to keep all these venues stocked, it's important that the ship has dedicated ice cream facilities. Next, if you don't see anything appealing on the menu, ask for suggestions or an alternative menu. There's no shame in having preferences and cravings. If you aren't sure what you're in the mood for, ask your waiter. They'll give you suggestions based on their favorite dishes on the menu, as well as what's most popular with guests. In the event that you simply don't see anything that you think would appease your taste buds, ask if there's another menu available. Most cruise lines have rotating menus, so you have different selections each night, meaning you don't have to worry about getting tired of the same offerings. If, however, you're someone who appreciates simple food, don't hesitate to ask for a plain chicken breast. When one of our writers was cruising on board Carnival Conquest, their friend frequently chose to order off the kids' menu. She found that she didn't care for the more sophisticated dishes and was perfectly satisfied with a cheese pizza and french fries. It doesn't hurt to see if they can modify menu items either. Usually, if there's a sauce or other side that you'd prefer, they can make it happen. You do, though, have to have the courage to ask. Cruise lines also strive to reduce food waste. Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas is the most innovative ship in the fleet when it comes to the cruise line's war on waste. With the use of AI, chefs are able to see what's been produced, consumed, repurposed, and wasted, allowing them to understand the best way to make adjustments for the next batch. In essence, AI helps them measure food to predict how much the ship will need for the next sailing. It's not uncommon for cruise lines to donate excess food either. In 2017, for instance, Costa Cruises partnered with Fondazione Banco Alimentare Onlus to provide excess food from their ships to organizations that specialize in food assistance to children and others. Next, cruise ships use a combination of fresh, frozen, and dry ingredients. While passengers are boarding the ship on embarkation day, new supplies are being loaded on. That doesn't mean they won't stock up in other ports of call either. Royal Caribbean, for example, always wants to source local when they can. Of course, some items like select meats tend to be brought on frozen to last longer, whereas cheeses and fresh fruits have to be replenished more frequently. In some venues, such as specialty restaurants, you may notice a stronger emphasis on fresh ingredients. This is because, since you're paying an upcharge, cruise lines try and save their best culinary experiences for these venues. Whereas in the main dining room, you may be served a pasta dish made with dry pasta, an Italian specialty venue will most likely hand-make the pasta that day. Next, you can take a tour of the galley on your next cruise. If you want to have a look at the behind-the-scenes areas of a cruise ship, why not book an all-access tour? This is not included in your cruise fare and it will cost extra, but it's pretty neat if you want to learn more about cruise operations. Most of these take you to the galley where you can see the chefs in action, but you may also be able to peek into entertainment areas, the ship's bridge, and laundry room. If this interests you, be sure to check your cruise planner regardless of your cruise line to see when and if it's available. This tour tends to sell out pretty quickly. Next up, chefs on board cruise ships are highly trained individuals. On Icon of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship, there are 425 chefs on board. 45 of them can be found working in the main dining room galley on Deck 3 alone, and Icon has a total of 23 galleys. In order to feed thousands of passengers, they must be able to efficiently manage the preparation, cooking, and presentation of meals in a fast-paced environment. Oftentimes, menus on board will also be curated by culinary celebrities. Recently, Carnival has partnered with Emeril Lagasse, and some chefs even have their own restaurants on board, such as Guy Fieri on Carnival ships. And finally, the last thing you may not have known about cruise ship kitchens and food is that cruise lines will often revise menus based off customer feedback. Food is one of the most important aspects of any cruise, and if passengers are unsatisfied with the quality or diversity of the options, then they'll likely seek out a vacation on a competitor cruise line for their next sailing. For instance, before Royal Caribbean changed the main dining room dinner menus fleet-wide, they tested them on Symphony of the Seas to receive feedback. Before reaching that stage, however, they surveyed passengers to see what they thought of the menus. Carnival Cruise Line took a similar approach, testing new menus onboard Carnival Dream in mid-2023 before launching them on the entire fleet. Moreover, when Icon of the Seas launched, Pier 7, which was a new specialty restaurant in Surfside, was an a la carte venue. Less than 1 month into operation, the cruise line changed it to a fixed cost venue. Now you can order 2 dishes for $14.99. Additionally, Azumi in the Park's grab-and-go window is now included in the unlimited dining package. On the maiden voyage, it was an extra cost even if you had the package. Suffice to say, if you're ever unhappy with the dining experience on board your cruise, don't be afraid to say so in a survey. You never know if your comment will be one of many and actually result in some sort of change. Well, that's all we have for today about the things you probably did not know about food and kitchens on a cruise ship. Until next time, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on those notifications so you're notified every time we post a new video on Cruise Blog. Happy sailing!